Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and yeah, my voice is still shot, but today we're going to be diving into a Kallari build guide. I want to kind of update these build guides every now and then and just kind of come in here in the practice range and talk about some items with y'all. But first I want to plug the link down in the description. It's the Hunt Jungle Community Discord. So I made a jungle community Discord just with a couple other really good players, good junglers, and the goal of the Discord is just to give like junglers and people that are interested in jungle a kind of like hub for where you can find like pretty standard builds for every hero. I'm going to update those soon, and then we're going to have like a patch tier list. So we're going to work together on like the leadership team, and we're going to like keep things updated and just make it like a solid jungle resource. I don't think it's going to be like the biggest community in the scene or anything, but if you're like a jungle focused person, we also have like channels that are for like looking for teams and things like that. So check out the link in the description. Let's go ahead and dive into this guide. So, I don't know why it has me on carry. It tried to give me a carry crest too, but let's look at some items for Kallari. First and foremost, Kallari is like a burst assassin. So the best crest for Kallari always is Nex. If you're not familiar with Nex, it's 15 physical power, 12 physical pen, and it is reaping, or reap is dash a short distance, dealing bonus physical damage to all nearby enemy heroes based on charge and your bonus physical power. So enemies damaged by reap are slowed by 80% for 1 second on a 90-second cooldown, and is store 20% of the damage dealt to enemy heroes in the past 5 seconds, as reduced to 10% for area of effect abilities. Charges are expended upon using reap. So basically, you go in, you're doing damage, and what you'll see is your Nex will have a number on it. And the more damage you do, the bigger and bigger that number gets, and then you pop your Nex. So you like dash through them, you can dash backwards through them. However you do, you need to hit them with the dash, and then it's going to do a large amount of damage. This is where the burst of Kallari comes from. Now, Malady is always going to be my first item. I think that Mind Razor is pretty good for Kallari as well. I kind of just like building up the Malady, getting straight into pen, but I do think that Mind Razor is like a little bit slower of an option. So kind of consider that, but my personal favorite item to start with is Malady. Let's take a look at Malady because it's a little complex, but it's 45 physical power, 8 physical pen, 10 haste. Beautiful stats for an assassin. Parting gift. Killing an enemy unit causes them to explode, dealing bonus physical damage to nearby enemies. This is really good for Kallari's clear. When you get Malady online, her clear like kind of starts to open up. It's really good for invading jungle as well, because like if you're stealthing up to a camp and they're fighting a camp, you can like smite steal it or auto attack steal it, and it's going to pop and do damage to them. So it's like another way of kind of like getting invade damage off, which is a good thing that Kallari's or a thing that Kallari's good at. But the second passive is Demise. Dealing damage to an enemy hero that is below 40% maximum health deals bonus physical damage increasing by 5 with each activation. Takedowns reset Demise cooldown. So Demise is just like another form of like execute damage. I think Malady is really good for just like getting in there and blowing someone up. Now, the reason why I wouldn't use something like Malady on say Feng Mao is because he really likes the cooldown, and I think the mana is probably a little bit better on Feng Mao, so something like Mind Razor is a little bit better. But I think first item for most assassins right now feels like Malady or Mind Razor. Second item on Kallari, not recommended. It's not in this list at all, and I can't believe it because I feel like it's just so slept on. I'm going to go to physical pen. I'm going to filter by physical pen. Vanquisher. This is a phenomenal item on Kallari. This is, I promise you, this build is finally, I feel like, starting to catch on, but I've been running it for a while, and let's look at the stats. It's a carry item, but it's 45 physical power, 12 physical pen, and 25% crit chance, which doesn't really matter that much, but the Annihilate passive is the reason why you pick this on Kallari. If you deal damage that would leave a hero below 6% of their maximum health, you execute them. So this is the rotation. You either stealth in, you hit them with daggers with your death mark, or you ultimate in, you do, you know, however which way you start it. You go in, you use your full kit, and when they're low, when you have this item online and you have your Nex online, and you always have those two online together, you just do a ton of damage. You come out of stealth, you rip the through them on your Nex, boom, they just explode. This is when Kallari comes online. This is the biggest power spike for Kallari. It's when she absolutely starts to dominate. It is very strong. Now, I'm still a little torn between my next item being Perforator or Demolisher. What we're looking for is the Puncture passive, which is gain 30% physical power on this next item. I just haven't decided which one I really like better, and I think it just depends. If they have tanks, like a lot of tanks, I think going with Demolisher is like pretty good because you have the Deicide Suicide passive, which is deal 0 to 25% based on maximum health difference, bonus physical damage against enemy heroes with greater maximum health than you. But it comes with crit chance, which again, Kallari doesn't really care about. It's got physical power, whereas the Perforator has more physical power, and it has 25 haste, which is huge. So I think Perforator is definitely preferred, but if they have like a very tank heavy team, you can go Demolisher. So just keep that in mind. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to slot the Perforator, and again, you want this because it gains you 30% physical pen. So this is just more pen on top of the pen that you're already building, but it's physical pen or percentage pen, and then this is going to give you damage abilities slow affected units by 25%, which I think that effect on this ability or on this item is not the best. You really want this for like the haste and the additional pen. Now, going into further items, I originally was not a huge fan of this next item, but I think I'm gonna kind of do like another dual slotted thing where I'm gonna tell you a couple of options. I'm starting to really like Envy. Now I'm gonna leave this one open, but I just want to read it to you. Envy is 40 physical power, 6 physical pen, 10 ability haste, 200 mana, so it doesn't have the most physical pen on it, but it has the sacrificial strike. Upon dashing or leaping with an ability or exiting camouflage, so Kallari camouflage, your next basic attack within 3 seconds will critically strike. So this just kind of like adds to the burst that she has. Let's read the Nvidia passive as well. Critical strikes empower your abilities for the next 3 seconds to deal 10% bonus physical damage. So now you have a potential engage where it's like you're stealthed, you come out of stealth and you crit strike them, then you do 10% of bonus physical damage with your abilities. That whole time you're building up your you're getting them lower, which is your next, you're getting them lower to that execute percentage, you rip through them with your next, they explode. I think this item is really, really good. There are other avenues that I think are worth exploring as well, which is why I'm not actually going to slot this item. I think this is like the core 3 Kallari build, and then you just kind of build 4 and 5 with what you need. I think another potential option is Deathstalker. I particularly like Deathstalker whenever I go more of the Demolisher path, but Deathstalker is 40 physical power, 8 pen item, 18% attack speed, so this kind of turns Kallari into a bit of an auto attacker. So some of that, like when you have Demolisher and when you have Vanquisher, you should always have Vanquisher, you're gonna have 50% crit chance. So I think Deathstalker kind of goes well when you have 50% crit chance, because now you're getting a little bit of attack speed. This is basic attacks against enemy heroes, shred 2 physical armor for 3 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So this is like a little bit of armor shred on her, which is like essentially more pen. And then onslaught is gain attack speed equal to 70% of your physical pen. So this is going to give you a little bit of attack speed. So like I said, I tend to like Deathstalker when I'm going the Demolisher route, but another really, really amazing item on Kallari for the 4th slot is Omen. This is another really, really big haste item. It's very haste focused. So 45 physical power, 8 physical pen, 20 ability haste, and then it has Bestial Torment. Looks weird to me. I don't know how to say it. Moving generates stacks of torment. At 100 stacks, your next basic attack consumes them to deal bonus physical damage and reduce your current basic ability cooldowns by 2 seconds. So you stealth in, you walk in, you built up that 100 stacks on your item, and then when you smack them, you are going to do bonus damage and reduce your cooldown. So you can kind of like blow your kit right when you get to someone. That's kind of how her rotation works anyways, and it's very, very strong. So you know, slot 5, I think it's a little bit open-ended. You can kind of just get what you need. If you're having a hard time with like abilities hitting you, rocks or hooks or something, you could go with Mesmer to give yourself a shield. It's going to give you a little bit of health. So this is kind of like a assassin survivability item. If you're having like burst problems with magic damage, you can go into Dread. There's definitely some options in here. I don't really recommend Demon Edge because it's just so targeted against people with shields, but there could be a use case for it. Resolution, I don't think, is a very good item. And then you have an item like Nightfall, which did just get a buff, but I feel like I need to maybe mess around with this item and see if there's any kind of world where this is useful. And just for the sake of saying, with Nightfall being like a lifesteal item, I would probably only use this if I was going like the Demolisher Deathstalker path, because then your lifesteal is like auto attack. So I'm not really sure about that. But friends, that's kind of the core 3 build right here. Sometimes it's Demolisher instead of Perforator with like a Deathstalker, and then for slot 4 you can go into like Envy, you can go into like Omen, and I'm even kind of considering Echelon Cloak for a slot 5, because there are situations where you can have, like, say this core 3 build that I'm sitting on right now. let's say you have Envy on top of that, you're sitting in stealth with Echelon Cloak, and you pop out, and when you leave, you do 8% more damage. So you could be sitting in their jungle waiting for like an unsuspecting carry to walk by. You pop out, insta one-shot them, boom, you take off. So I think slot 5 Echelon Cloak could actually be pretty good for Kallari. I would never build it earlier than that. So that's kind of my build for Kallari. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Check out the Hunt Discord down in the comments or down in the description below if you're interested in being like a jungle main or wanting to learn about jungle, you know, tier list, jungle builds, anything like that. As always, be sure to be kind of one of them. Tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.